Your news starts now. But first, here's a special report from the Razorback Nation.
Hi, you're looking at Jordan-Hare Stadium coming to you live from Auburn, Alabama. Tell you what, this is a place where the Razorbacks won last time they were here. So, hey, we're going to be optimistic in our coverage down here. The Razorback Nation crashing the party people in enemy territory. The rest of our crew arrived today. We've had Mike Irwin here all week for the Auburn side of our coverage, and now the entire team is here getting you ready for kickoff tomorrow. Let's have a look at some of this video. As I told you, we're going to be optimistic in this sportscast. Yes, the Hogs are huge. Yes, the Hogs are huge underdogs in this game, with Auburn favored by as many as 22 points. But nobody is expecting the Razorbacks to win against the defending SEC champs. So, Aaron, where's that optimism you were telling me about? Well, it's the fact that the Hogs always seem to play well against Auburn, especially where they play here on the road. The Razorbacks have won here 3 of the past 5 times they've played at Jordan-Hare Stadium.
Get that little press release, and it jumped out to me a year ago when I saw the statistics, obviously, but to have the traveling record over there, I think it's a good indicator that sometimes past history is one of the best things you can predict the future with, you know. So I'm excited about sharing that with our guys. Let's
go ahead and take a look, if we can, at the graphic that I had made of the recent records between Arkansas and Auburn. The Razorbacks have won 3 of the last 5, but it is Auburn that has the overall series record. They've got 12 wins against Arkansas's 10 wins in 23 games. So, all right, now this show is leading up to our coverage here at 6 o'clock. Also, the big one coming up tonight at 7 o'clock, our 1-hour-long Razorback Redemption special. Let's have a preview.
You got certain players that you can lean on that maybe a year ago you weren't aware of that. You know, it's going to be intriguing to me to get into the season and see certain players react to certain games.
We want to be known as like the best group on the team, you know, the running backs group.
A lot of people are not looking for me. You know, I'm playing to shock the world this year, and as well as the other 2 running backs that are back there with me.
And the more familiar kids are with the concepts, the faster they play. And I think that's what people are going to see.
All right, so once again, our 1-hour-long Razorback Redemption show at 7 o'clock. And then we have another show at 10:15, our game day show tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. and much more for you just here in about an hour at our 6 o'clock broadcast. Aaron Peters reporting live from Auburn, Alabama. Stick it here all day with your coverage. Let's head back to the studio.
Now, your forecast first from your Northwest Arkansas Weather Authority. Brought to you by Crane Automotive Team.
Football season just around the corner, and it's sure starting to feel like some fall weather. Dreary day out there today, but we are going to have summer-like conditions for your holiday weekend. Let's take a look out there right now from the Chancellor Hotel. You can see those clouds out there. We did see some precipitation fall throughout this afternoon, and that's going to continue. That dropped our temperatures. Look at that. Some 80s out there right now, 76 in Fayetteville. It was a little warm and muggy to start, but that rain came. We're going to talk about our rain totals, plus how much rain we can expect to start your holiday weekend. Then, like I said, it is going to warm up, and we will see some sun for the remainder of the holiday weekend. We're going to break down all those details coming up in a bit.
It was a criminal investigation, and it was a human resource issue. Once I became aware of the alleged misconduct, I immediately contacted the police department, and a criminal investigation was launched.
Local elected city leaders at the center of accusations involving drug abuse, trading sex for services, and even bullying. And it all started with the KNWA investigation. Tonight, we are digging deeper and uncovering a long line of allegations that go back to 2012. Good evening. I'm Jonathan Martinez, and thanks so much for joining us on your Friday. It's an investigation KNWA has been following for months. It started with Rogers City Attorney Ben Lipscomb firing former City Treasurer Jerry Hudlow. And in an exclusive interview back in July, Lipscomb took the blame for what he now calls a mistake.
If you want to blame somebody, blame me. And that's just the way it is. The buck stops here.
During our research for that report, we received information about other problems happening behind the doors at Rogers City Hall. And based on that information, we filed a Freedom of Information Act request with Rogers Police. And what we got in return was a lot more than anyone may have expected. This right here is just one 50-page report we received today. And in it, accusations of drug abuse, trading sex for services, and abuse of power by several Rogers City leaders, including City Attorney Ben Lipscomb. Immediately after receiving these reports, reports, the mayor's office sent a statement to Northwest Arkansas media outlets saying in part, quote, pursuant to a recent FOIA request from KNWA News, there are 2 investigations in which Mr. Lipscomb was the subject of or mentioned in the investigations. But the investigations involving Lipscomb are only the beginning. With today's release of information, a separate case came to light involving illegal drug abuse in the City of Rogers IT department. We have a team of reporters covering every single angle that is of this investigation tonight. We start with KNWA's Ben Klein. He joins us live in the control room with the newest developments we are uncovering tonight. Ben, good evening.
Released today, a police investigation from 2012. In it, the director of Rogers IT department, Rufus Ramey, is accused of coercing one of his employees into illegally obtaining prescription drugs. In the police reports, that employee, Tim Harrison, described Ramey's drug abuse, saying, quote, Ramey's appetite for pain pills at the bare minimum is unbelievable. Harrison stated he saw Ramey take approximately 90 pills within a 5-day period, and Ramey comes to work high. Harrison said Ramey had taken oxycodone prescribed for Harrison. Harrison also alluded he illegally purchased pills for Ramey after the prescriptions ran out. Harrison told police, this is the one that will get me fired right here, going to buy pills with his money on city time. In December of 2012, Rogers police interviewed Ramey. Ramey stated Harrison offered to get the medication, and he accepted. Friday's press conference, Mayor Hines addressed the 2012 case.
Mr. Ramey's attorney and the Benton County prosecutor reached an agreement that Mr. Ramey would resign his position with the City of Rogers in lieu of criminal charges.
Ramey did tell police city attorney Ben Lipscomb provided him with as many as 20 to 30 Xanax from Lipscomb's personal supply. Jonathan?
All right, Ben, thanks a lot for that angle, sir. Our team coverage continues tonight with KNWA's Tevin Wooten. He has more on what we are learning about the accusations surrounding City Attorney Ben Lipscomb. And Tevin, there are several other documents we received today from police involving Lipscomb, yes?
That's right, Jonathan. Giving another city employee prescription pills isn't the only thing Lipscomb is accused of in the documents we obtained today. There are claims of sex in exchange for services and harassing communications with another attorney.
Mr. Lipscomb is the elected city attorney. He does not fall under my purview or my management. I don't have the authority to counsel, to discipline, or ultimately to decide his employment with the city.
A press conference Friday spawning from our investigation into possible misconduct of Rogers City Attorney Ben Lipscomb. Lipscomb's mentioned in a 2012 police investigation providing Xanax pills to a city employee. And according to that employee, it occurred nearly 10 times. But the allegations didn't stop at City Hall. In the report, it was rumored that Lipscomb slept with a former city employee in exchange for legal advice. But Mayor Hines wouldn't get into that issue.
It certainly appears that this conduct predated me taking office by some time period.
And Lipscomb's actions continued to the internet. An exchange of emails with attorney William Horton were so aggressive, Horton filed a harassment complaint with Rogers PD.
The tone of those emails, in my opinion, felt like my client potentially was going to be punished because of the prosecuting attorney's dislike for me. And that's not fair, and that's not justice.
Horton says Lipscomb used language that was unprofessional, and the mayor agrees.
That was purely unprofessional. I think we can all agree to that. But again, that was forwarded to the Benton County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, and the decision was made not to pursue charges in that case.
Another question brought up in our investigation: is Lipscomb qualified to hold the office of city attorney? We found Lipscomb claimed the homestead property tax on a piece of property outside Rogers city limits. The city attorney is required to be a resident of Rogers to hold office. When we asked Mayor Hines about it, he revealed the issue was brought up before, but he didn't take it any further than the man in question.
I addressed that with Mr. Lipscomb, the concern that was brought to me. At the time, Mr. Lipscomb, the city attorney, opined that in his legal professional opinion, he met the requirements of residency.
Tevin Wooten, KNWA Northwest Arkansas News.
Well, you might remember today's reports on Ben Lipscomb come on the heels of accusations he also impersonated a police officer. We now know a special prosecutor will investigate the complaint accusing Lipscomb of showing a badge and claiming to be an undercover officer to get into the VIP area at the Miranda Lambert concert. That was out at the Walmart Amp last month. Crawford County Prosecutor Mark McCune has been selected to investigate whether Lipscomb actually impersonated an officer. If you're wondering what it takes to remove an elected city official from office, here's what it looks like. According to the Arkansas Attorney General's office, a person who holds an elected office in a municipality for a term of 4 years in a mayor-council form of government is subject to removal from office by the electors qualified to vote. Qualified voters, being those registered within the city, can file a petition with the city clerk. If the petition gets 25% from the voters in that city, the city clerk shall certify it. Then the question of removing the official would go to a vote. If the majority of voters vote for the removal, a vacancy shall exist. If not, he or she shall continue to serve their elected term. Of course, the development story will continue to follow for you. New tonight out of Fayetteville, Mayor Lionel Jordan responding yes to a written request to establish an advisory group to take input on a new civil rights administrator for the city. The Fayetteville Chamber of Commerce wrote a letter of concern this week to the mayor addressing issues over how the new civil rights ordinance passed earlier this month will be implemented. In the letter, the chamber requests 10 people to be appointed as a task force to represent local groups, including members of the LGBT business and real estate community. A public input meeting will be held September the 4th at Fayetteville's City Hall. That's going to be happening at 6 p.m. KNWA is your local election headquarters, and as of today, an amendment to legalize alcohol sales across the natural state is headed to the November ballot. According to the Arkansas Secretary of State, the Arkansas Alcoholic Beverage Amendment met the signature requirements to get on the ballot come November. The proposed amendment has more than 87,000 valid signatures. Registered voters will decide on the proposed amendment that, if approved, would legalize the sale, manufacture, and transportation of alcohol across the state. A popular car service told to cease and desist in Fayetteville, but Uber is taking a stand. Its response to one local city coming up next. Plus, a new museum exhibit comes to Crystal Bridges and beyond. We take you behind the scenes of this state-of-the-art display. That's coming up next.
And it felt and looked like rain earlier in the day. Held off, though, for majority of our region. We do have more rain in your forecast, then a heat up for your Labor Day weekend. We'll break down all those details coming up.
Live from the Dixon in HD, Jonathan Martinez, Neely Jones, and Weather Authority Dan Scoff. This is KNWA News at 5. Closed captioning brought to you by Pascal Heat, Air, and Geothermal.